Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Daryl Urbanski, your host as always, and today we are joined by a longtime friend and copywriting expert, Otto Ruebsamen. When he was 19 years old, Otto was inspired by a living copywriting legend. Seeing how copywriting produced billions of dollars in sales for a single person, Otto committed himself to becoming an expert at the art and science of salesmanship in print. 12 years later, Otto has written successful campaigns selling everything from high-end coaching, information products, seminars, skincare, supplements, vertical jump training, and even definitive guides for breastfeeding mothers. Copywriting is important because of how it allows a business to standardize and scale their sales process. Instead of having 10 plus sales reps out in the field all doing things with their own flavor, you can do it all with the written word and make sure your prospects get the exact same experience. So I've asked Otto to join us today and share with us answers to questions such as why is copy so important in everything we do, what to hone in on with your ideal prospects to create high converting copy, how to apply principles of copywriting to every critical touch point in your business, and how to double your revenue by tweaking a few key elements, these critical success factors that can make your revenue soar, and much, much more. Why why is copy so important?
Well, copy is in every single thing you do as a business. It's literally it's salesmanship in mass. If you take an incredible salesperson, whether salesman, saleswoman, someone who's just incredibly good at making orders come in, and you bottle up their presentation, you bottle up the way that they communicate into something that a mass of people can see or read or listen to, then it enables you to scale. And it's in the scaling that enables you to really drive your revenue to a higher level, because it's not just one on one. It's one to infinity. A number of people that you get to watch it or listen to it or read it, and so. But it doesn't stop there. Copy is literally, in my opinion, in every single touch point that a customer or a prospect or a client has with your business. At each and every single touch point, it's a communication that either does one of a couple things. It either makes them more inclined to continue doing business with you or to do business with you for the first time. It's either a big positive for them or it's a negative or a moot point. Like absolutely, absolutely. I mean, like for instance, direct mail guys. A lot of direct mail guys won't mail a list unless the list universe is over a certain number of names. If you go and do a 5,000 name rental and you mail to it and you, let's say you pull a double over where, for every dollar you spend, you bring $2 back in. Great. That's a wonderful, that's that's a front end, as far as a list that you're just mailing to. Awesome. You just made a profitable campaign, but it's if that list only has 30,000 names on it, then you're not really going very far. Right. But if it's got 3 million names on it, then you just made yourself a fortune, because you can mail profitably to a heck of a lot more people. Testing. I mean, well, all right. So your headline's always going to be your headline. If it's an email, who it's coming from, because you got to build a relationship with people. But really, your headline, everyone comes back to that. One thing that like you were talking about Facebook marketing, and we've talked about direct mail. The thing about direct mail is, you get a piece, and maybe you're doing an A/B split test, maybe you're doing an ABC split test where you're testing one mailing piece against another, and again against another to
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm just thinking about that because I'm hoping there's a bunch of people getting some aha here and really, really, really excited. But Otto, with the copywriting skill, what are some of the most important parts of copywriting? Like,
You can pretty well get about an ABC split test in on a direct mail campaign, and have some statistical significance to work from. The cool thing about Facebook is, I've got a friend of mine who he'll go and test 50 ads to make sure, to figure out which ones work the best. And that's, you learn a lot about the conversation with your marketplace when you do something like that. What they're really clicking on, what they're really buying. If you track all the way through to end sale, and what you can do on the internet,
Yep.
it makes it really clear to understand what your market wants to buy, and
Yep.
that's really key. Is if you understand what your market wants to buy versus what you want to sell them, oftentimes they're not the same thing.
Head of an avatar. How do you build an avatar? Do you have a process for that?
Well, a lot of it comes back to asking good questions. I mean, nowadays, you can learn a lot by going into the same market that this is in on Amazon and looking at comments and questions that people have in that marketplace, or finding an online forum and looking at the questions that people ask, because that'll tell you roughly what 70% of that market, which is generally the newer people to the market, want from what's out there, what problems they're having. The biggest thing I've found is focusing on the problems, the fears, the frustrations. I tend to be a very optimistic person, and in the past I used to use a lot more moving toward copy, meaning focusing on all the positives. But without a pain, it doesn't give people really a strong motivation to move away from, and it's the pain that gets people to buy.
Wow, I love that. So there's two. Otto, you've dropped two big gems here. First of all, if people's listening to this, if their brains aren't tingling, you need to go back and re-listen to this. So first of all, I'm giving you a formula for marketing success. Second of all, Otto just gave two really great tips. So one is, I love that you sell someone on the problem. So that basically means if you can articulate and really like if someone's ever read a storybook and the author paints the picture so well, you can see the once upon a time and the valley and the butterflies and the little bunnies eating grass and just this very vivid
Yeah.
picture. If you can do that with the specific problem you're trying to sell a solution for, you're over 50% of the way to the sale. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yes, yes, and to be very precise in what I picked up from this gentleman Wyatt, he said if you can describe their problem better than they can, then they automatically attribute you as having the solution to it. Basically, some of the things that
Kind of.
really helped me dig into getting good at copy were to read a lot of advertisements, and then take very successful ads and physically hand rewrite them, the whole ad.
Mm.
And that's something that not a lot of people actually take the time to do. But yeah, I've done that with probably 20, 25 ads, and it helps. It helps a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you write in someone else's writing, you can kind of get into your muscle memory, their style, and you can kind of get into the nuances of what they do. So, but it's a lot. It's not just write it once. You got to write these things over and over and over and over. So the repetition, I think, really counts. So okay, so now 7 years. It's a lot to really understand, like getting into the copy. Um, like it's a long time to develop the skill. So it's I guess yeah. Sorry, I just was thinking about that. 7 years to get into the copy. So I guess how do you approach it? Is there a process you go through when you go to write copy for someone? Say I hired you as I became a client. Is there a process that I need to go through with you to help prepare you and get you ready to write copy?
Yeah, in general, it's really helpful to understand the client and their voice, and sometimes I've been able to do that. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I've had situations where you know people asked me to write some copy for a client, and then never wasn't even ever able to speak to the client. So
Mm.
sometimes you gotta figure out what the company wants based on an email or things like that, where you don't get a real sense of the company voice, and that makes it a little harder.
Yep.
But the biggest thing is really understanding the avatar. There's a huge difference in writing to little old ladies in their early 60s who are concerned about health versus writing to 25-year-old guys who want to learn how to date women. There's a huge difference in the
Mm-hmm.
language you use, in the tone that you use, in the softness or aggressiveness, in the types of stories you tell. Which stories, that's probably one of the best things you can ever use with your copy is having an effective story or two goes a heck of a long way to getting results with your copy.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So, what have been? What are the mistakes you see a lot of your clients making? Like when someone comes to work with you and you step into their business and you're all right, we're going to help you get this copy written to whatever, to build your audience, to increase sales, to get people to come back and buy a second or third time. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see in a lot of businesses or with a lot of clients when you start getting work, like starting to work with them?
They're too busy to think.
Ooh, ooh, ouch, Otto. I meant your clients, not me. Don't say that. Ow, that hurt. That was painful. That was so painful. That was so painful. I just went through an experience like that where that was the problem. I was too busy to stop and look. Can you expand on that a little bit? Just don't make me cry on the recording, all right? And
Yeah.
for the record, I'm not Otto's client, so he's not really talking about me, but I can empathize for sure.
Yeah. So, a lot of business owners, uh, you have a bazillion things that you're trying to do, and you lose focus. You know, you're trying to fix there's an old story of Gary Halbert and John Carlton where John Carlton shows up for the first day of really getting down to work and writing copy and getting everything going. And right as he walks in the office to meet with Gary, the phone starts ringing, and there's a huge problem with someone on the phone. The copy machine breaks. The landlord came down to have a little chat with Gary about something, and some other huge thing happened. So there's like four different fires going on right when he walks in, and Gary says, "All right, well." Hang on a second, guys. And he walks into his office. He beckons John to come with him. He shuts the door. He locks it. And he says, "All right, let's get to work."
Yep.
And the point of that story is,
Yeah,
uh,
because John's sitting there and he's like, but wait, you got an angry, your landlord's here, he's mad, there's an upset client on the phone, the copywriter's not busted, your secretary needs help with that. I can wait, you can take care of that stuff first. And Gary's like, this is the only work that really
yeah,
matters, is bringing
yeah,
sales through the door.
it comes back to bringing in the bacon. As a copywriter, when I work with clients, it comes back to really it comes back to getting revenue in the door and then making sure their systems are in place so that they can handle the increased business. And if you don't have most of the problems of running around with too busy and in overwhelm mode is because you don't have systems set up.
Mm, mm. Very well said. And a system is just a step by step process. In a lot of ways, I mean, you can have an automated system where machinery does this and then this and then that, a workflow process, a flow chart, a mind map, again, a checklist, again, step by step. Those are all just, it's just
Yeah,
all an
yeah, I
example
would,
for a
and
system, don't you say, Otto?
I can think back to I'm thinking of one of my clients that I had in the past where they he was running about a 50-hour work week. Once he put some systems in place, he was able to drop his working week, quote unquote, to 15 hours. And with that
Mm-hmm.
extra 35 hours a week, he was able to focus on driving in more revenue, and as a result, I mean, his business tripled in size in very short order.
Otto, do you have any habits that you feel have helped you on your path to
Yeah,
success?
there's a few. Getting around good marketers, that helps a lot because it's the conversations you get to have. You know, um,
Mm,
uh, it really comes back to conversations and the you know someone who knows a lot about marketing and copy, they can say one thing to you and you're like, oh wow, and you have this epiphany and you go out and you make a bunch of money with it.
yes, one idea. One idea has made me so much money so many different times. Just one idea, well implemented. Well done is better than well said. And so if you get one idea from this entire call, implement it in 24 hours if you can, because that will make a world of difference for you and your business. Yeah, so well said. What else you got, Otto?
Really ask your marketplace. Spend time asking them. And I'll give you a good example from a business that I ran for a while. This actually ties both of these points together. A good friend of mine, marketing genius, his name's Jason Moffat. I was hanging out with him one time at his house back when he was living in San Diego, and he gave me an idea for to go do, and I thought it was a good idea. So I went and I built a business teaching people how to increase their vertical jump. And then one day I
Mm.
went and the point I'm making here with the, kind of sending a query out, I surveyed the marketplace and I found out that so much more about them than I ever realized. A lot of these people were younger than I was thinking they would be. A lot of them were had different goals than I thought they would have, and I also got to find out who their favorite basketball players were, and by doing a simple survey to them, I was able to learn a lot about the things that I had no clue of, and then I was able to adjust copy to speak to just those things.
Mm, 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 mm. Different ads very, very quickly and come to one that gets a better response. How do you think that's going to affect copywriting moving forward in the future?
I've been noticing more and more that things are moving towards brevity and making
Mm,
making more of a headlines have always been important, but in my opinion, they're becoming even more so. Hooks are even more important. How you open up and get people's attention, because people's attention span are shortening. The they're
mm.
constantly having to battle for attention, and it's becoming harder and harder
Attention, yeah.
because there's so many more messages being thrown at people on a daily basis.
Getting back to fundamentals, I really like that, and I think that's really important. Again, right? And that if you can sell someone on the problem that you're already 50% past the sale, what else are some of the fundamentals of good copywriting, Otto? What does good copy always include?
Uh, Headline, strong story, a super powerful offer. The better and more irresistible you can make your offer, the more you're going to sell. Having a
Hmm.
great risk reversal. I mean, a very strong guarantee, and then having a good PS. Those are like the real key critical elements of a good piece. If you have a good headline, a great story, an incredible offer, a solid guarantee, and a PS that really wraps the back end of the copy, then you'll do well.
Well said.